Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals just like you come to learn the most efficient and powerful ways to grow their firm, sharpen their sales skills, and have consistent increasing revenue. We cover topics from sales, networking, handling objections, negotiation, pricing, finding those ideal clients, and how to get rid of the ones that just don't suit you and how to set those boundaries so you can stop giving away your time, working for free, putting yourself on sale, and really start to get paid for the value and the worth that you bring to your clients. You'll learn tips, strategies, as well as hear others from personal interviews from successful accounting professionals. This podcast will show you exactly how to create the firm and life of your dreams full of abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. Today, we have a little unique, different kind of show for you. So I was a guest with Adam on his podcast talking about how to sell without selling. So join me on a conversation with Adam Lean, who was a former accountant turned two-time entrepreneur who's built, scaled, and sold 2 businesses now. And he also helps other business owners realize his passion while teaching and providing tools to business owners to help them make more money and have peace of mind. And if you are a firm owner who has the fear of selling, just know that there is a possibility for something else to work for you. You don't have to work 12, 16-hour days. You don't have to work on the weekends just to keep up. And you don't have to be pushy, salesy, or sleazy. And not only that, I also am going to show you how to do all of these things that we talk about in the podcast today in a very simple, effortless, and automatic way. And if you want to discuss how this can be done customized to you and your firm, if you own a tax, accounting, or bookkeeping firm, then head on over to theabundantcall.com and you can book a call with me and my team. And now let's dive into the discussion with myself and Adam on how to sell without selling.
Hey, Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so you've been on the podcast before, and you're essentially an expert at selling. You specifically help accountants, bookkeepers, financial professionals sell. So let's talk about selling, because it's something that a lot of accountants, bookkeepers are not necessarily, it's not their favorite part of what
Definitely
they
not.
do. Yeah. So
Not
starting off, why is that? Why is it so difficult for financial professionals to sell?
Well, I think financial professionals and the clients that I have and have met, they don't want to sell because they don't know what to say. They don't know how to communicate their value. They get nervous. They're like, I just want to do the work. But the problem is they also want to get paid for it. They want to work less hours. They want to earn more revenue. They want to have this life of abundance, but they just didn't learn a skill set that's needed in order to enroll people to have high-paying premium clients that are paying, $3,000 to $5,000 a month for CFO advisory services. So the missing piece is having empowering sales conversations. And I think the other piece, Adam, is people don't want to be rejected. People don't want to be told, no, you're too expensive, and all the things that you hear from your clients. So, in order to really build a firm full of high-paying clients that you just don't have many of them, you have a handful and you're working not that many hours, you have to stop trading time for dollars and you have to let go of like those overly demanding clients so you can get paid based on your value and worth. And I think a lot of it too for this profession, I just talked to somebody yesterday, the skepticism is so high.
Yeah.
And just embracing a sales approach, it just doesn't feel good to you. And that's, I think, the underlying problem. But in order to build a thriving practice you have to gain the skills and the strategies to command premium fees and know who the ideal client is that you're talking to and really what makes them tick. And that's
Yeah.
ultimately how a firm owner will achieve, work-life balance and feel empowered to actually do the work instead of resenting the clients.
You brought up several good points here. One thing I wanted to ask you about, you said that a lot of accountants want to do the work. They're more comfortable in the work.
Yeah.
Do you feel that do you feel like that's sort of an excuse? Like, in other words, do accountants, if they were more confident in their sales skills, they could sell higher value, services,
Yeah.
that they would do it more, and they sort of hide behind just,
Yeah, they hide
I
behind the
just want to do the
work.
work.
I mean, from what I've seen with my clients, and I've worked with hundreds of accounting, tax, and bookkeeping firm owners that have done a 180, literally, that this part about talking to the clients can actually become fun.
Yeah.
Because once you have a system that you can follow, just like you have a workflow system to execute the work, you're missing the most important piece, which is the sales workflow system to help you increase the revenue on your P&L. Because if you don't have that, then how can you do more work for your clients? But we
Yeah.
need to do it in a way where you're not discounting your fees, you're not negotiating on price, you're not devaluing your worth in a way that feels good, because ultimately it needs to feel simple, effortless, and automatic. That's really
Yeah.
the goal of it. And once you have a structure and a system and a blueprint to follow, that's what's possible. And then you can work the hours you want to work and you can have this time to dive into the work instead of resent the work or the lady I talked to yesterday, she was saying, I have to put money into my business just to do the work and pay my staff. And that's just a recipe for disaster. And people like that probably will never change because that's just their belief because they don't want to do sales. They think it's sleazy. They think it's pushy. And it's like, well, if you're an entrepreneur and you own a bookkeeping, accounting, tax, fractional CFO, advisory firm, whatever you call it, you signed up for a 24/7 sales career.
I think that's something that sounds that sounds daunting because I mean I agree with you.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that a lot of people don't want to take on, but we all have to remember whether we own a restaurant, a manufacturing company, a CFO firm, it almost doesn't matter. If you own a business,
Business.
your job is to sell. But I think a lot of people, like you said, have this sort of negative perception of sales. Like
Yeah.
you're almost like the used car salesman type
Yeah, the
where you're
pushy car
forcing something.
salesman. That's totally it. Because
Yeah.
most firm owners, Adam, get paralyzed by the thought of the next phone call they have to have with a prospect.
Yeah.
The person I spoke with yesterday, and many firm owners feel this way. Well, Michelle, I have to base my prices based on what these people can afford, not what I should charge. Well, if
Mm,
you're starting a business like that, good luck. You might
right.
as well close it down and go get a job,
Right.
because otherwise you're going to just continue to freeze up. Prospects take control of the call. And that's just not the way to do business. And I hear it quite often,
Totally.
because it has nothing to do with what you think the client can afford. That's
Yeah.
actually the worst thing ever to say. And for you to think that that's your basis for your pricing.
Right. Right.
So,
Agreed. I
yeah.
get a lot of accountants all the time say, "Well, there's no way," because we recommend that you charge at least 1,500 per month per client for
Right.
CFO advisor services. We get a lot of people that say, "There's absolutely no way my clients can afford this. They can barely afford the $200 or $400 I'm charging for bookkeeping." It's like, well, you
Right.
need better clients. You need different clients. It's, I mean,
Well,
it's
and you need a better sales system. We share a
right.
client, Adam. She was, needed to increase her bookkeeping fees and she wanted to add CFO advisory and she had tried it to do it on her own and it wasn't working. And guess what? She's closed 2 of her current clients. Not only did she increase the bookkeeping fee, but she also added advisory services. From the 2 of them, they added $40,000 each of total reoccurring additional revenue. So she just made an extra $80,000 in her firm for the year off 2 clients that she wasn't able to do before. Granted, she learned the skill set, she understood the process, and now her clients saw the value in it. Instead of them saying, I can't afford it, I can't pay you more. When it's all price conversations, it's not how to do it. But you need a step-by-step process so you can take charge and have the confidence. So I see it all the time, but I think most of the challenges with firm owners stem from a terrible experience you had probably buying a car or someone at the mall.
Sales to me should be approached or thought of as I'm helping somebody. If I believe in my service or product so much, then why wouldn't I want to tell somebody about it? Like it's my duty to tell somebody about this product if it will help them.
Especially adding on what you do. CFO advisory, if you're going to help put a client in a better position and help them financially and do all these things you're going to do, why wouldn't they pay you more? And her client, one of them, no pushback, nothing. The other one had to take it to 3 of their business advisors to make sure it was okay. And then before they even had their follow-up meeting, he sent an email over the weekend giving her the thumbs up. And I said, you know what? You did a great job on your sales call. He got it. He saw the value. He just, had to run things by his advisor. And sometimes that's just going to happen. But that's what happens when, we put an end to, my clients are going to leave me if I raise my fees. I think a lot of firm owners think that. And if you don't have that confidence that people will stick around, they will stay, not everyone's going to leave you, then, any tactics you try or whatever you're going to do on fees isn't going to make a difference. You have to learn the art of enrollment and how to have value-based conversations with people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's almost like 2 things have to be true. You have to believe or know that this service or product that you're selling is going to help them. If it's not, you shouldn't be selling the product in the first place, which is why I think used car salesmen get that bad rap.
Right.
But you have to believe that it will help the person. At the same time, you have to charge for your value.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you're saying, because you can believe that it will help them. And if you charge $1 a month, that will still be true. It'll help them, but you are going to not make any money at this. And then that'll be
like this person I talked to yesterday who's got to take money out of a retirement fund or something and put it into the business just to make it work, and has already invested $70,000 in this business and is losing money hand over fist every single month. And this person reached out to us 3 months ago and said they were a great salesperson, but clearly all of your sales stats are based in your results. Just look at your P&L.
Totally.
So if you want to free yourself of those awkward sales conversations and not have to feel pushy, and you have to sometimes get yourself out of the way. And I think that's the problem, Adam, for so many firm owners, is that they're in their own way. And, I know Adam can teach you on the technical side, and I know I can help on the enrollment side. We both have solutions, but until you say, okay, I'm going to reach my hand out for help, there's nothing that can be done. And I think the resentment and the anger and, I think a big thing too, Adam, is the anxiety and the depression and the anger that many firm owners have because you got yourself in that position from charging too low or, thinking you got a price based on what your clients can afford. That all plays into effect, into our mood and how you operate. So if you're grumpy every day and angry, you're going to get grumpy and angry results.
Yeah, I agree with you. You said that accountants have this fear of rejection. in
Yeah.
a sense, and that is almost like the root causes to why they don't
Yeah.
want to charge, because they don't want to hear the word no. Why is that? Why is that, and how can somebody overcome that?
Well, it's so funny. My boyfriend sent me a video yesterday. I don't know how to say his name, but it's like Ja Jing. And if you look him up on YouTube, he wrote a book about, the 100 days of being rejected.
Okay.
So if you need to overcome that, figure out a way or a game to get over it because you will be rejected, but it's not about you personally. It's about these people's experiences that they have in the real world that come out when you basically hold up a mirror to them. So, like this lady yesterday just comes to mind because she was a piece of work. Wanted to give me feedback on my sales process. And I'm like, look, you came to the sales doctor. There's only one person here who's having a problem. It's not me, it's you. I don't need any feedback, but we just don't want to feel rejected. And she just felt rejected probably because I'm like, I can't help you if you're going to have this negative attitude and not be open to coaching. So with those kinds of people, I just can't help. But I think so many firm owners, Adam, take the passive approach with selling, meaning you send a proposal, you send a quote, and then you cross your fingers and hope you hear from people, and then you get ghosted. That's also a form of rejection.
Yeah,
And if you
that is true.
continue to get ghosted and people don't respond to your emails and you let people off the hook really easily when it comes to your enrollment conversations, and then you constantly are chasing people down for money and having to feel like you're begging to have people work with you, that just compounds on top of everything. And that's why no one wants to get rejected. But you got to get over it somehow. So I love how that guy Ja Jing, or I don't know, just Google like Ja Jing getting rejected and figure out a game for yourself to put yourself in a position to get rejected every day so you build that muscle. It's a muscle that has to get built just like if you were going to go to the gym
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's inevitable that you will be rejected in business. We get people all the time, that don't want to enroll with us or whatever for whatever reason. There's always going to be that form of it, but it doesn't even phase me anymore. It just kind of bounces off my arm and goes away. And once you build that muscle, I think it will really change. But also, you can change and be proactive on your sales process by
yeah.
having a step by step system, by having a process where you're not aiming, winging it. You're not just going off the cuff. When you do that, the odds of being rejected, told no, ghosted, people not responding to you increase. But if you had a formula to command these premium fees, show your true value, show how you can, really deliver what you're promising and have people see that, then you can come across without being pushy or salesy or any of that stuff. And you
Totally.
can get people to either tell you yes, or, like my client who is upselling her bookkeeping increased price and CFO advisory. He just said, I need to take it to my advisors, and they were going to meet that following Monday from a Friday. That's fine. But at least there was a follow up in place, and she did not send a proposal. She did not send a quote. And he took what they talked about in that meeting and digested it and went over it with his advisors, and everything was great.
Yeah,
So we have to start taking a proactive approach versus always being reactive or passive. And if you continue to take the reactive or passive approach, you will continue to get rejected and then you'll continue to not want to sell, basically.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer that you need confidence in
Yes,
order to sell, but to get confidence, you have to take action to build
correct.
that skill. Take
Yeah,
action to build confidence. Once you're confident, then you'll continue and you'll be competent at
correct.
selling. It's like this the confidence
100%.
competent loop. It all starts with taking action, starting with the system that you're talking about,
Yeah, if you
then
don't take
building confidence.
action on what you're showing them or what I show my clients,
Yeah,
nothing's going to change.
totally.
You can, and like the woman yesterday, she said, "Oh, I'll just read books and watch YouTube videos, and I wish them nothing but the best." That would be like going down YouTube University, and yeah, it's great. Good luck, especially because if you continue to watch and read stuff and not actually implement and put into action, nothing's going to work.
No,
It's still
yeah,
going to be the same. Reading books and watching videos without implementation doesn't do anything for you, your business, or your
right.
clients.
Without implementation and without accountability and feedback and
Correct.
coaching.
Yes, you
I
definitely
mean,
need.
the highest performer athletes, almost every single one, have a coach. And they're probably the people that don't even need the coach because they're high performing athletes, but they have one because they want to be the best and they want to be
Yeah, they
good and
have
they
a
know that they don't know it all.
psychologist. They have
Yeah,
a psychologist. They have a team of people that are supporting them. And in business, you should have the same.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that in our line of work, whether you're selling bookkeeping services, accounting services, CFO services, tax rep, whatever, we are selling a service, which means our time and our employees' time is finite. We have a capacity
Correct.
issue. And so if we have a finite capacity, a finite amount of clients that we could take on, then we might as well earn as much as we can from each
Yeah.
client. Like why
Totally.
wouldn't you do that? It's your business.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's the only way to do it so you can create a retirement for yourself. I mean, there's so many
Right.
firm owners I talk to that don't even think about that yet. I'm like, how do you not have a retirement plan for yourself? Or how are you not creating this firm that has high value so you can sell it in the future as a retirement plan option for a high multiple? All
Right.
of this stuff is so crucial, and it's all derived from your sales because your sales dictate on your P&L your top line revenue, and that number drives the rest of the business. You
Yeah.
can't have profit without revenue. You can't pay
Yeah.
a team really well without revenue.
I agree, 100%. Well, on that note, Michelle, thank you so much for being on the show. This was a fantastic conversation, as always.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Well, you can find us at theabundantaccountant.com. But, if you're ready to take action today and change the way you're doing your sales process and stop feeling awkward about it and start stashing away for retirement, you can have a conversation with us about how to do that at theabundantcall.com. And you can book a time,
TheAbundantCall.com.
fill out the application, and then you'll talk to myself or someone on our team. So just pick a time that works for you, and it's at theabundantcall.com.
Love it. Michelle, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you all so much for joining Adam and I on that discussion of how to sell without selling. And remember, if you're an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner and you want to stop trading time for dollars and let go of overly demanding clients and finally get paid based on your value and worth and boost your revenue, here's what I've got for you. Here at The Abundant Accountant, I share the secrets to fill your firm with ideal clients who not only value your time, but can help catapult your firm to the next level and work the hours that you want to work while still having plenty of free time for yourself and your family. And not only that, I'm also going to show you how to do all this in a way that feels simple, effortless, and automatic. So if you want us to show you exactly how to do that, head on over to theabundantcall.com and book a call with me and my team. Thank you so much for joining Adam and I on this conversation, and I look forward to speaking to some of you soon. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next episode.